Good morning, guys. Good morning. I'm supposed to be singing this, but I can't. Today, I'm trying to do Tolu's style. Egungun, please.
Egungun, be careful now. Express you they go.
I said I didn't want to sing it, Lola. What is wrong with you? I was gonna say, Egungun, be careful on the express. You
they go.
Should I say? Be careful. Don't waste all of your lawyer's effort. We are very bright. We are considerate, very. We are very graceful, but definitely not demure as we get set to take on all of the hottest topics we've had this week. We've got some fresh gists for you. I would love to hear from you and our guests about some of the things we've talked about this week. So, strap in, ladies and gentlemen. Today is for Hot Topic Special.
These women are ready for the weekend. But before we get into our hot topics, this coming Sunday will mark 4 years since the incident at the Lekki toll gate during the NSARS protest. On Thursday, the 8th of October 2020, nationwide protest on NSARS started after weeks of outrage and anger, with videos and pictures showing police brutality, harassment, and extortion in Nigeria. The Nigeria police force disrupted the protests in some cities, throwing tear gas, using water cannons, and shooting at unarmed peaceful protesters. By Wednesday, the 14th of October, the NSARS protests were still ongoing, with young people in different parts of Nigeria intensifying their calls for reforms and accountability in police operations. And on October 20th, there was a shooting at the Lekki toll gate that led to the death of protesters. While the Nigerian army and government deny these allegations till date, many will remember the live stream by DJ Switch.
And in response to the public outcry on police brutality, the Inspector General of the Nigerian Police banned the SARS, Special Tactical Squad Intelligence Response Team, Anti-Cultism Squad, and other tactical units from mounting roadblocks, checkpoints, stop and search, and other routine patrols. Similar bans had been announced multiple times over the previous 4 years, causing Nigerians to question whether the ban would be actually upheld. There were further reports of SARS officers involved in killings across the country, as this was the fourth time that the Nigerian government had announced a similar ban on SARS activity. Protesters insisted that the notorious police unit be entirely disbanded and wide-ranging reform of the force to follow. There were 5 demands. These were one of the immediate release of the arrested protesters, 2, justice for deceased victims of police brutality and appropriate compensation for their families, 3, setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of all reports of police misconduct within 10 days. And 4, in line with the new Police Act, psychological evaluation and retraining to be confirmed by an independent body of all disbanded SARS officers before they can be redeployed. And 5, increase police salary so that they are adequately compensated for protecting the lives and properties of the Nigerian citizens. 5 demands.
5 demands that, unfortunately, to date have not really been met. We talked about it, I think, about 2 weeks ago. One NSARS protester was finally released after 4 years. And there are still several others who continue to be in jail. And I even find it interesting that the people who were protesting, and that's young Nigerians, and I actually attended many of it. I was here at the one in Alausa and the one in Tollgate. They were still advocating for more money for police officers, for better pay and compensation. For the same police officers who have, unfortunately, in many instances, shown a complete disregard for the right to life, the right to freedom of movement, the right to the sanctity of the human life of so many young Nigerians. And I still remember some of the cases. One of the big stories then was a young boy in Ogbomoso who was watching some of the protests and they started firing and he was shot. And that, again, in the midst of these protests, just continued to galvanize. And we just saw, as the days went on, the numbers continued to swell. It's very hard for you to speak to a young Nigerian and probably talk to 5 young Nigerians who don't have either one personal story themselves or a friend or family member's story in terms of engagement, or maybe engagement is not the right word, in terms of engagement with the police in a negative way.
It's so unfortunate because it's been 4 years, and even though SARS was disbanded, we still see a lot of profiling every day. We still see a lot of people stopping people and asking unnecessary questions. There was a day that I had to, I think I was stopped, and then they were like, oh, calm down, let me check you. I'm like, no, I won't calm down. I don't have to calm down. And then one of them now saw the badge, oh, now press, that's why you're stubborn. You know, so we still see all of that. We're still 4 years down the line, and some lunatics and mentally unstable people are still recruited in the police force, and nobody is saying anything about it. In fact, it's not even just the recruitment. I think it's from up to down, because we're talking about a man who was working as is it detective or something for years before he was caught. We talked about that here. Yes. So there still needs to be a check in the system, unfortunately.
I think we've gone. I don't know. When it started in 2020, it was strong. It was palpable. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the country then, but what we heard when outside the country was I was so afraid that, oh my God, that there's a revolution happening finally, because no one had really seen this coming, that NSAS would be such a movement that Nigerians, because they were tired, they would throw all their weight behind. But after the NSAS, I mean, even Burna Boy did a song, October 2020, and, you know, it was such a moving song. So after that, there was still traction on that. But it's as if, as the years went by, it's not as if we completely forget it. But you know how we are in Nigeria. Yeah. We now readjust and continue with life. So as Blessing says, and as Tolu said, there are still the weed and the shaft that should be removed if this has to work.
You know, the fact that nobody took blame for they still denying is a big weight on everybody who participated in that particular struggle. And I believe that that is that is what permeated the entire society, because everybody came out for NSAS. A lot of people came out. You know, there was just this national solidarity, like maybe for once we can do something. But you know, when the pushback came, it was unexpected. It was unbelievable, because you would not have believed that they can be this negative towards young Nigerians who are just trying to, you know, raise their voices for the first time seriously. And it wasn't like it had turned violent, but you know, they infiltrated the many of these protesters with hoodlums, and everything went south from then. And it's still a terrible memory for a lot of people who are still grappling with the loss of their children, because whether they like it or not, people did die. Oh, we saw it. I remember, I'll never forget DJ Switch's Instagram live stream, because I was watching it and we saw all the horror and the things that even happened subsequently was very traumatizing as well. When, you know, some people that we respect will come almost a year after and say that's when they're still finding pieces of evidence.
So they found camera.
They found a camera, they found bullets in some corn. It was just some very painful.
That just aggravated Nigerians the more.
So why would you expect any Nigerian that was in this particular struggle to see a way? It was like a dejected situation, like, what can we do? If they push back at us, they will not even care that we're citizens. They are going to bring the full weight of the military on us. If you're a well-meaning parent, are you going to encourage your child to go to the forefront and die?
That's the point I was going to make, because I think that thing birthed the non-challenge in a lot of people, because now...
I don't think the word is non-challenge. It just, the hesitation. Nigerians are not still non-challenge. They're just hesitant to come out and put themselves on the line. Apologies for
so I think even myself, I won't lie, sometimes I still refer to that NSAS, everybody, you know, rallied around and nothing still happened. So that's why I always ask, what's the change that we would see when that was on that scale and we still didn't? There was a lot of denial, there was a lot of
disillusionment.
Disillusion.
That is what I would say. A lot of Nigerians are disillusioned. Look at all the protests that we've been trying to do.
So there's an Occupy Nigeria,
everybody takes it with
bad government.
You know, a little bit of carefulness.
I don't know if you guys remember this video.
Oh,
this is
gosh.
Professor Duncan. We interviewed him and his daughter. So 3 generations of a family were out at the Lekki Toll. I'm getting goosebumps.
Yes.
I always remember what he
Do you
said.
remember the flag boy?
Yes, the flag
That
boy.
one that used to cry.
Yes. So let's see if we can hear what he said.
Yeah.
With their voices, not just leaving it to the youth alone.
Because I think it is right to protest. It is wrong to have bad things happening. When I was of your age, this country did not look this bad. We all had future. There is no future. Children are not, no progress. Wrong. Rather than that, there is too much money going into wrong hands. And I think we should stop bad policing, wickedness.
It is enough. I say hashtag zero tolerance to bad governance. This is the 2nd generation. My father is the 1st generation. I'm the 2nd generation. My son is here. He's been in charge of the cleanup crews that clean up every night. That's the 3rd generation. We cannot have 3 generations of Nigerians fighting for Nigeria and continue this way.
I'm wondering that what can we do to be able to get us to get to this point again? I was on stage on one of the days, and I remember where I was working then. It was like a pushback from the company. I'm like, I went in my capacity as a private citizen.
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't go there to represent the company. I was not wearing any brand colors. I was just a Nigerian who was tired of everything that was happening. I'm just hoping that with everything that is happening, maybe we might be able to get something this close again, because the unity of that time, if you were there physically, you would feel it.
People who weren't there, that's why I told you that even us who were not in the country at the time, we felt the unity of it. Everybody would look for your brother who is somewhere down. If it's the person is in your car, in your neighborhood, you would go and look for the person just to come together and watch what's going on. We were feeding off of social media and YouTube, because at that point, I have goosebumps as I speak, because at that point, it made you very proud that for once we have come together in one voice to agree that this, first of all, is a universal no-no for every Nigerian. Look at that. That video, that sort gave me goosebumps, and I got almost teary because you don't understand the power, that thing that Dr. Robert said, that there are 3 generations. And believe me, for some people, there are more generations.
Yeah.
3 generations, her father, her, and her son. How long are we going to, we have a way of saying, oh, you know, we'll all be okay. Today is Friday. Some people will be in the clubs. Some people will be where, having fun, you know, enjoying themselves. And no, it doesn't end there. We have to intentionally, dedicatedly do it like you're pursuing contracts.
Captain, you would have
do
thought
it like you're pursuing
I would
a
have
job
said
you really want to do.
It was so bad then. Who would have thought that a couple of years down the line it would be much worse? Look at the dire straits we're all living in every day. Every time you wake up, when I enter, these days that I'm privileged to even enter a public transport, I try to feel the pulse of the people. Yes,
on the street.
I sit and I just quietly listen. You will see some women. One man was talking beside me. I was so touched that I had to put money in my bag and put in his hand, because he wasn't talking to me. He was saying that this transport, he was on the phone with somebody that, please wait for me. He was trying to beg his wife that he's going to one of their clients' places, that he had like 1,000, but he would take him this far, that when he walks from Badore, he will keep the 1,000 so that he will walk from Badore to somewhere so that he can use the money to commute back home. I just put money in my hand, and the man looked at me. It was as if we understood ourselves.
Without speaking.
She just said, God bless you. I said, you don't have to say anything. I said, all of us are in variations of challenges. These days, you will call some of your friends, and you'll be surprised at the person on the other phone crying. I have friends that had good jobs, but now the husband is laid off because not even for the reasons you think. He said their office said that Bande is killing their business. So they had to have the staff because they cannot continue to run the office at full capacity. So they are losing their job because electricity tariff is high.
It's not because of anything.
And please,
else.
electricity tariff may soon go higher.
Yes, they are upgrading. Did you get the email?
It's an upgrade moment. An upgrade is
He's inside our
through.
stories. We will be back in just a moment. Let's take a quick break. It's a Friday, which means it's a Hot Topic special. Our guest is standing by. And of course, as you know, we're going to ask, how are you? And we're also asking you out there, how are you? Join us when we come back. The phone lines will be open. And of course, the conversation is also available to you on social media. Stay with us. Now, our special guest on Jasiri today has worked with producer Kobams, rapper Ikechukwu, The Midnight Crew, Mike Abdul, and many more. Please, a round of applause for the one and only Dekunle Fuji! I've always wanted to be an announcer.
You should have put Mola Jesse Gun.
Jesse Gun.
Do you know the song Blessings?
Yes, now.
Sing it.
How?
Look, why do you just go?
These ones were babies when the song was sang.
But today, welcome to Jasiri. Blessed are thou among women.
Yes,
even though we're taking that Bible verse out of context. But welcome to the show.
Thank you, ladies.
How are you before we get into? No, seriously,
honestly.
in the wholesome sense of it.
Honestly,
Welcome to Nigeria. You have
Yes.
seen the time you've been here.
Yeah.
But please, how are you?
actually, I'm very fine. I got here the next day. There was first scarcity.
Wow. What a nice way to welcome you.
Yes, welcome to Nigeria. And I mean, so far so good. You just have to, blend with the situations. And so far it's been good. And I got here this morning. What a pleasant surprise.
You sound Lala right here, like, oh, my sister. Maybe when he's leaving today, he might give me some of the dollars he's not using.
Oh my God.
Hopefully.
Unfortunately, this is a country where many people drink pure water. Pure water is the sachet water, so you squeeze it out completely.
Like you squeeze everything.
Drain everything.
The way I am right now, I've been squeezing.
No, honestly, I can't even lie, digressing from what we would even talk about. I know that a lot of people that live abroad, when they come home, it's like a leeching situation. They are literally bled dry because everybody that is on them is a parasitic situation because once the leech gets on your skin, you just have like 20. And they're all sucking from the same source.
These days, people are coming home and not announcing.
No, yes. I have a friend of mine that I just accused this morning. I said, I saw you in Nigeria. You came in quietly. She just put thumbs up. She said, I'm already on my way out.
Did you come in quietly like that as well?
At this point, it's not quiet anymore.
And I've been here, this is like my 10th day. And there's no way, even though you want to be quiet about a lot of things, you can't be quiet. I came to introduce myself back into the entertainment industry and to announce my new work out there. So I would need a little bit of noise, but I sneaked in like
a thief in the night.
Which actually leads me to the next question, because a lot of people see you, they've heard us singing the song, they'll be like, where have you been?
I mean, say, life is funny.
Life is lifing.
Life is, yeah. If life blows you, this way, anywhere you find yourself, I always tell people, don't ever look for people to pity you. Pick yourself up. Encourage yourself like David did by yourself. If you wait for people to encourage you, you might not get it. So, yeah, I'm that kind of a person right from since I was born. It's been like, oh, climb this hill, you think you're done, there's another one waiting for you. Yeah, a tough time doesn't last, but tough people do.
And indeed are tough.
Honestly, yeah.
A tough cookie. But at the time that you were doing music, that you were big and everywhere, all over the place, you faced a lot of onslaught because you are one of the people that the new generations are pigging back on. Because Dekunle was at the edge of new.
Yes.
Nobody had seen contemporary gospel music before.
Yes.
And he now did gospel Fuji.
Yeah.
How do you know so much about him?
Oh, this. See, honestly, most people don't know. If you look, we look alike.
You look alike.
Yeah. we were from same.
Yeah.
We were cooked in the same pot. Yeah. So we from Fountain of Life Church. That's where I was discovered. We used to be in drama department together. And I could tell that this lady got something that, you can tell from when you see Lolo. Oh my God, you can tell that there's something.
It was a bundle of.
Yes, bundle of
love.
Yes.
There was a bundle. Her mother was a bundle of Lolo.
So she's not a stranger to me. I'm not a stranger.
Good.
So
It's good to have friends.
we come a long way.
Blessings, let's pick up.
Don't mean they give me money. I'm still gonna
Leave
beg.
him alone.
Okay, Jasiri lovers, don't forget to join the conversation. Do well to follow us across all socials and let's know that you're watching. Don't forget to use the hashtag Jasiri so that we can easily find your comments. Now, very quickly, let's go to our first hot topic for today, and we have our guests here with us who would help us discuss the topic. So, our dear Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, says most Nigerians have stopped complaining about the high cost of petrol because we no longer rely solely on our generators for electricity. Last week, the pump price of petrol rose to 998 and 1,030 per litre after the NNPCL announced the end of the sole off-taker arrangement with the Dangote refinery. The minister was speaking on Wednesday at the 2024 edition of the Nigeria Energy Exhibition and Conference, and it seems our quietness over the increase in fuel is leading our leaders to believe that we're okay with it. If not, somebody will not come out and make a statement that we're no longer complaining. I, for one, I'm nowhere near being okay with it. I don't know about you, Dekunle, but I am not okay with it. I know that it's just been 10 days. You are still fresh blood. At this point.
Honestly, I just want to say thank you to a lot of people in this country. Where I was staying, the NEPA took light. There was no light. And somebody said, oh, how are you coping? From Ilupeju, like, okay, move to this place, part of, and they were running generators ever since I got in there.
Wow.
I don't like when people don't think because we're sitting under the tree and don't make other people feel like the sun is not shining on other people. And, when people talk like that, if you meet Mr. President 101, he's somebody that I've met before, and he will always show to people that I know what you guys are going through. But do you know that this country didn't just get to this position in one day? It's been years accumulated of piling up of a lot of destruction. If you mess things up in 30 years, it takes only God to fix it in one day. And that's why they call God can compensate you your wasted years. That's only can be done by miracle. But things that I'm seeing in this Nigeria is not, if you can pray, but we still need good people that love people, that cares about people, that knows how people, where the shoe is hurting them.
Yes, where the shoe is pinching. Yeah.
Yes, but I see a lot of people, a lot of big men at times, when they talk, are just like, you know what, this is a country where there is no freedom of speech. I don't want anybody to pick me. I say I have like 24 hours to be here. So.
I'm sorry to say that I kind of disagree, right?
Yeah.
With the idea that, a country that has been messed up. Yeah, I understand that it takes time to fix it, but I feel like that's an easy excuse for the leaders. Oh, it's only God that can take us out of the situation that we are in. And because of that, they're digging the hole deeper for the people to fall into.
When the ways of people pleases the Lord, He knows how to make everything right.
Hallelujah.
See, let me tell you something. When cry of people gets to heaven, look at the Israelites. He will raise a Moses for them, and he will take out Pharaoh needs to go for some people to come in. Those pharaohs that you see, God can take them out like this. Some people see, Abacha slept and he didn't wake up. What happened? He has planned to execute some people.
So you know that I'm also going to quote the Bible.
Yeah.
There are so many kings in the Bible that God used men to take
Yes,
out. And we cannot sit down waiting for Abacha to sleep and not wake up
But
anymore.
I want to even ask, why is it that Nigerians are quick to play the God card? Because there are some things that is clear to us as day that God doesn't need to come and do for us. Some of the things when we pray, you ask God for provision. We have abundant natural resources. And yet, our leadership is plundering us to poverty.
They're turning us to that pure water sachet that you were talking about.
Look at the way the minister said it. You know when they hold a carrot to you and there's a knife in your belly? You are hungry because you haven't eaten for days, and yet the pain from the needling of the knife, you have to bear. So they are now telling us that because we have light occasionally, which many of us are paying through our noses.
We're all bad
The
there
truth
now.
is, can you blame him? I mean,
And they are not saying, no, that's why we are not feeling. Do you know how we run the generator in my house? Everybody in my estate, some days you just get there and say, why is everywhere quiet? And it's dark. Everybody has put off their generator. Some people will say, oh, let's just put it on between 9, maybe 6 and 9, so that they can listen to news, do this, do that. Subsequently, everybody's put off their generator by 10.
There was 2 national grid collapses this
week alone.
While the minister is denying that one of them happened. So that means 6. 2024 is the year that has seen the highest collapses of the national grid since 2019. What are we talking about?
Were we not here? I don't want to go back because it's a sad incident. Were we not here when the dam in Borno collapsed? Wow. And that's just because if you look at something that's serviced regularly as and when due, it's like a vehicle. My sister, if you don't service your motor, one day, won't it just
break down?
Yes. So that's the thing. We don't, and that it takes us back to a lack of maintenance culture. Yeah. We don't have maintenance culture in the country. Everything is collapsed. This is the one they call things fall apart.
Yes. So.
And you use the word sabotage. I think we're actually self-sabotaging.
Honestly, I think there's some people, that's their specialty. They once something is being invented, they are looking for how to pull it down. I checked the phone today, and I was checking the power system of the phone. Every phone telecommunication has alpha, beta, and gamma. And these are they're like triangles. That's how they exchange batting. Yeah. And I see that Nigeria is still on. They say we're on 5G.
G in some places.
No, they're still on analog. These are not digital because you can't send message easily like that. Yeah. It will bounce back. You have to keep on forcing till you get to Wi-Fi. So all these things are now being done. We need somebody that knows what he's doing, that cannot be compromised to actually.
My problem with what you're saying is it feels like we are all looking for a Messiah. Yeah. And it's all I said. People have said, and I agree. Even Jesus, if he comes out to this country, the way Nigerians will treat him, they should run for election with all the solutions to our problem. And so I think yes, there's a point where there's important points where there's going to be a central figurehead. But more importantly, I think we as Nigerians have to change our thoughts because that one person cannot succeed without the rest of us.
You are very right. People get out of this country and they start behaving themselves.
Voila.
Honestly.
So how does that work?
Yeah. So
it's doable then, no?
So this is it. The people that they put in check are compromised. I was coming down here. A right turn, you can make a right turn when the traffic is free. And I feel like even the people that they're supposed to supervise us, they don't have an idea of what they're doing.
Of course.
The right way is free, and I was talking to the officer like, the right is free, which I have access to right. And the one behind him said, go. I went, I just moved, and he just jumped into my car. Like, why do you? I said, hey.
Oh my God.
They do that a lot.
And that was when the Nigerian instinct in me kicked
you can never lose it.
No, man.
I just saw I saw myself like a deer, and I saw lions all over me, and you can see them with your claws out towards me. I said, see, Dekunle, I'm on Nigerian, you gotta embrace. That was when the mushy boy
came out.
I didn't tell you what I did, but I said, no, this guy don't like.
This got handled.
So you want to behave like calm and cool, but they will always press that area button in you. So in a way, I think, like I've seen Lagos in the past 10 days, I'm impressed. Clean.
Where did you go?
I've been on Tomiland Bridge, Bagada to Ilupeju.
That's how you know the people that have money.
When he said clean,
that's how you
clean.
know.
Honestly, I didn't see to the unclean places.
Not like back in the days that you see everywhere being littering and all that.
No, they just repaired the third mainland floor. We were suffering for months. That's lovely thing.
For him to come back and say clean.
For us that lived, do you know what we had to sacrifice?
I experienced that a few years ago when I came in. But for me to just get to Ireland in 20 minutes and be back to in less than 25 minutes, I'm like, wow.
No, that's because there are no vehicles anymore on the road.
Yeah, people are taking petrol. I didn't know my neighbor had a bike. I just been seeing bike. I've been seeing bike in my compound. So I was taking Corday to school yesterday, only for him to come down. He was wearing shorts. He had locked the bike. I thought it was for like our security guard. I saw the. What did they bet? I've been trying to calculate, so if I'm to take bike from Surulere to Ogba, because people of God, this fuel. But please, before we go, because I just want to add a few more tidbits to this because Lolo has the next story. So it's interesting. I think you guys might be interested to know that the federal government and Labour have agreed that they're going to work to crash the modalities, to crash the food and transport. I want to see the modalities of that. FG has also agreed to put Labour on the Economic Council. I want to see how that works out as well. But there are a number of things that they've said, and you know that this all comes around with the Federal House of Representatives asking that they reverse the fuel price increase and also gas as well. And then let me just leave you with what the minister said last, because I think there might be an issue with this administration and how the ministers talk. Or people who represent the government. And he said that, and I quote, he was lamenting Nigeria's abysmal performance in the area of power generation, noting that we've only added 2,000 megawatts in 40 years. He said, but we're still over 200 million people. We're celebrating the achievement of 5,000 megawatts. Why this seems to be an achievement is because it took us almost 40 years to generate an additional 2,000 from the 2,000 milestone we achieved in 1984 when we came into power. And last, let me remind you, he said that they are working on the payment of appropriate cost-reflective electricity tariff in Nigeria and that the sector could easily generate 5 trillion naira in revenue. We're moving from Band-Aid to Band Heaven.
What does that mean?
No, because where do you go? If it's not Band-Aid, what's next?
Where do you go?
Where do we go?
Look at it, this Band-Aid that is causing companies to downsize. Because the cost of running, I can tell you categorically, I've gone to a couple of media houses in recent times. There'll be like 12 ACs in the company, they're using only 3.
Remember, some of them are shutting down at 11 p.m.
Yes.
Because they can't run overnight anymore.
They can't run overnight because the cost, the weight is so heavy. And if you are not a small business owner, imagine those that are thriving off selling pure cold water or drinks, and the woman cannot afford to buy fuel.
It's not cold anymore.
Now they've started
only
putting...
push people to come up with an alternative. You see that we have electric cars now. So
in Nigeria.
There's been one I've seen.
We have seen.
But it's not a mass. It's not something that is mass. They're actually building something at University of Lagos, and I know they're working with the Automotive Council of Nigeria, I believe it is. So there are some things, but it is not
It's
mass.
not enough.
It is not enough.
It's just like the CNG buses they said they are provided. I don't have to enter a public transport. It's nothing elitist to take your car to work every day. Abroad, I could go on a train because the train tracks passes everybody's neighborhood. You can go by bus. You know what time your bus is. You know the number of buses that go to Agege this place. You know the numbers. So these things what we are asking them to do is not something that they need to restructure. They can even borrow template from abroad. But the problem I have with them is we do policy before we think about the policy. And how it affects the people. And that's where the problem really is.
Let's keep this train that you mentioned moving.
Anyway, let's move on and let's keep moving. When they mention train, honestly, I need to travel. This week, we've seen different dimensions come up in relation to 2 high-profile defamation cases in Nigeria. There's Burna Boy versus P. Darlington, as well as Femi Falana and his son Falz versus Martin Vincent Ose, popularly called Very Dark Man. There have been actions and consequences this week, honestly. We had a legal practitioner on the show that took us through some of the issues around defamation and cyber stalking. We've also talked about the irresponsible comments we see on social media. Some bloggers making up stories for fame and people just making up comments they cannot back up if they were asked to do so. What is instructive is that many people do not understand that the things they say on social media can truly be held against them. Like I said yesterday, situations like this reinforce why I think some sort of social media regulation is necessary. Where do you stand on this issue of social media regulation? Context-wise, maybe we need to fleshing it up for you a bit. Maybe that was too
everything that has its good side must have the bad side. And if you see life is designed positive and negative. But a lot of times we have seen that we've enjoyed this so well. Now that people start disrespecting, we're forgetting who we are. Our culture is being bastardized on a daily basis. Honestly, I think there will be a need for government to have a policy to check that. But when it was benefiting everybody, we were all celebrating. Now that this is the... Do you know that social media has helped a lot of us to call out some people doing, this is a way to get quick justice. But I just think a lot of people, smartphone should be for smart people.
It's just like saying common sense is for him, it's common.
Common sense is not common. So
That's why they call it smartphone, not smart people's phone.
A lot of people have used smartphone to make their own lives even smarter than But when some people just use it to just cause a lot of havoc. So when I see certain people like that, I just try to help them. I'm like, why do you go on? Must you?
But even as you're helping them, I can trust Nigerians, because when we posted the clip from the conversation on Wednesday, somebody was saying that the person we brought was a Falana Stan or something like that. Or somebody, and this person is sitting here telling you what the law is. The law is not perfect. It is imperfect. It is at the testing of the law, the reviewing of the law, the amending of the law that you continue to move towards absolute justice and perfection. No law in the world is perfect. And we test it, but Nigerians don't want to hear. But they believe that they can sit here and say anything they want to say.
The thing is, until we see something really hold someone, I'm telling you, it's like a little child. Remember when Coco was little, my children were little, we put candle. I would rush to want to take the candle away, and my mother would hold my hand and say, no, let them put their hand in the candle. And of course, they always do. They'll put their hand, they'll look at you, they will wail and cry. And that means every time when we put ordinary lantern, if you see the way my son was struggle to be away from that light, that is because nobody has been held accountable. People go on social media, make some allegations that are unfounded, that can totally devastate somebody's reputation. And imagine they don't know, you are bidding for a contract. Everybody fills forms for visas. They write there, have you ever been convicted of this crime or the other? Have you joined with some terrorist organization? And imagine somebody just said under your comment, you terrorist, we know you, we know your work.
And actually, you see, in America, they said they legalize, you can do smoke, we do it, whatever it is. So one day, they picked you for random, and because of the way the Nigerians, Africans, the way they work like 14, 15, 16 hours every day. So they pick people randomly. They picked this American guy, and he failed the drug test. And they fired him right away. And he was like, what do you mean? Me, I ain't take this, I'll sue the, I have my right. And I said to him, they told you it's okay to do it, right? Now they be the one firing you for doing it. I said, why? What are they telling you? They said, you should, there is a way, there is a medicinal aspect of it that they are telling you it's okay. Not the one that you have gone to do.
That you want to be doing like Snoop Dogg.
Because social media is there, it doesn't mean you can just, and we are too quick to make nuisance celebrities. And that's why
I love that point. I absolutely love that point that you just made, because Nigerians are not ready to hear it. We are the ones making, like, I see some people and I'm like, they said this person is a celebrity. I'm like, how?
How did this become?
Where?
What is it
Why? Do you know that me?
Captain has not let that role model part go since yesterday.
Every time I'm on social media, I know anybody can come for me. I'm an actor. I know where lines needs to be drawn. There are some things that even when I would see women in skates and I'm like, we are fighting tooth and nail every day for women to get equal rights, to be able to see eye to eye with men. And you are letting them, with your full consent, objectify you. There is hardly any skit you will not watch now, and some women will not be inappropriately dressed, and the men are even given permission to fondle them.
See, this is it. Like Yoruba will say, we don't work.
Please, you have to say it in English.
Say it in French.
It's good to see. People get entertained by madness, but they did not want their own children to display that kind of madness.
Say it in French.
See, this is heavy.
Say it in French.
No, I can't.
They shoot Tolomon.
People don't want their
Yes,
children.
So you see how people clap and dance
entertainment.
after Mad Men.
Yes.
They like it. It's amusing.
It's
So
funny
they
to
don't.
try.
Yes.
But it should not be your child that is the one people are clapping and dancing for.
And people will say, Kosiya Were. Like Were, there is no mother.
Nobody claims the way.
Nobody is celebrated to be
The
a
mother
of insane. But guess what? The day you kill a madman, you will know that madman has a mother. So,
It's deep.
Today, not today.
So most times I always tell people, because something is what is trending, what is in vogue, I don't have to follow the nonsense everybody is doing. I'm a pathfinder. That's why God gave me an idea to create Fuji gospel. And I always tell people, if I believe something is good, I don't care what you're saying, condemn me, do whatever, I follow it to the end. But I always think, what would my mom say? Or what would how would they react? But in this generation where people don't care, they don't even have home training. They don't even care. People disrespect their, this is a country where you see somebody, because you are trending, you can just pick somebody that is old enough to be your great grandfather. Yes, I know that we say we open eye. When you open eye, you pay for the consequences of opening eye.
Yeah.
The day Adam opened eye and ate the wrong, he still.
We all not
Yes, that is it. Because open eye started from the word go.
It has consequences.
Not be today, Nyash day back. I always tell people, see, this open eye started by Adam. And he paid dearly for it. You open eye, believe in me, they will open your sleeves and you collect.
I miss those days.
So,
I need to ask you about something because time. I don't know where the time goes. So you describe yourself as an instrument of worship.
Yes.
And I recently read somewhere where you said you had no issue with your music being played in nightclubs.
That's why I should make more music like that.
And I found it interesting because there's an ongoing debate in Nigeria about Nigerian Christian or gospel music scene, about musicians now becoming a little too secular, extending their hand a little too much maybe to secular artists and things like that. Are we holding gospel musicians, Christian musicians, whatever they may call themselves, to too high of a standard, or is the world seeping into the church?
Everybody has a calling. Christianity is like medication, like med's line. You have a doctor that's gynecology, baby delivery. Some people will tell you, I'm a prosperity pastor. For me, I'm an evangelist. All I do is, how can I reach out to people? When you leave a nightclub and you are driving, do you know, it comes to your mind. There is this thing, it's coming from your mind. Like, what is going on? There are certain things I don't do, not because I'm a Christian. It's because they are not just my way. I've never tried to smoke before because it doesn't just make sense to me, whether weed or whatever, because I'm not, a car comes out with a smoke regularly. And my mom, when I was like 10, 11, hey, mama, rest in peace. The day she saw me with leftover of cigarette, the deliverance she did for me, she casted out all the demons that were still looking at me that might enter And honestly, I always said to people, the way my mom trained me, even when I left the house at 16, 17, I can never forget my mom. So most times, charity, you can't start from Oshodi. It begins at home. Don't think because there is a charity notion you want to go and start your own charity from there. Charity begins at home. When you train your children the way they want them to be of the Lord, when they grow up, see, they might not show it to you, but when they grow up, they take I met somebody, a guy that claims that I'm straight, I can go either way. I said, okay, and his dad is a pastor. And I said, have you ever seen two male dogs chasing each other?
So okay, can I ask a question to that regard? So you said something about...
I'm a Christian
you
mentioned good music, planning to reach out to people.
So you're okay with it in nightclubs?
See, almost
Did
every...
we dance CC Winers in clubs?
So I don't personally, I don't buy that it's just about the message.
Yes.
Because this thing you said about pastor's son swinging either way. If a gospel artist, for example, partners with another artist that swings either way, so the pastor's son is like, finally, you're accepting my kind. So it's not passing the message; it's leveling the playground.
No,
but
I can I be honest with you? A lot of us, even the so-called pastor have what they're struggling with.
Absolutely.
And if you read Psalm 51, it said we were conceived in iniquity. We were born, our foundation has been wrong from day one. But how will you be a judge over some people? And Bible said do not judge anybody so that you will not be judged. See, when you don't give people a chance to come to this Jesus that you want to put in a show glass, when it's not an aquarium in a fish, how would they come to that Jesus?
You know, when I discuss this particular thing,
you have 2 minutes.
Yes, I find it so it just makes me laugh because education is what is tearing all of us apart. Many people talk evangelism now; they've forgotten what it means truly.
And they're not even doing evangelism again.
Perfect.
Yes.
In every single person because he doesn't agree with you. Who are you to tell somebody that your life is not right? Your own is to speak it and leave God to change the person. But now we're so choosy because she has blonde. Some people will see you in my own time and say you're a thorough unbeliever. This your dress cannot make it to heaven.
Auntie, ready to come say.
I said no,
The red that she put on her lips.
you put your mouth in blood.
Pancake to them.
That's why a lot of people are hypocrite. And I said,
please speak to it before we leave. This Nigerian state hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is a crime.
Yes. See, Jesus happens to be the simplest man I've ever seen. He dined with the sinners, he ate with them. And guess what? If you don't get closer to people, if you know you are not strong enough, I understand. But do you know that I've done a lot of, I'm talking about outreaches where we were in offer years back. Nobody came out when they started the crusade. The moment I started singing, the crowd, the place was packed.
Who don't like groove?
Who don't like groove?
So the thing, he reminds me of Kirk Franklin. When Kirk Franklin came out with
push the boundaries to the edge.
The new nation.
Lately, I've been going through some things that really got me down.
And so I remember the backlash that Kirk Franklin got, especially from the African American church. Mary as well.
And I won't lie to you. I've been to some places where I said to myself, no, I'm not going again because my reaction wasn't good. Like when you go to some places, music is funny. It's like you get nodding until you start. But I tell you something. If you are a child of God, there is nothing anybody can say you are. If you know God, people will know there is God in you.
Yeah,
it's just, no matter how much they try to rubbish it, it is what it is. Black is black, white is white. And do not judge anybody. Give everybody a chance to come to the realization. The program I had on Sunday, that's what I said to them. My clothes I've been wearing, my costume. The guy that gives that to me is a serious Muslim.
Exactly.
Kola Kudus. And he provides me what to wear anytime I have a show. Why would I appreciate someone like that? And I don't judge people. But you want food.
And it has nothing to do with religion.
And you see those,
that's what's dividing
those people that you think they are unbelievers that they are singing secular song. There are more churches than a lot of Christians.
See, I say all the time, people will be surprised at the people who pass through the pearly gates. I'm
telling you.
And there's some pastors
that don't give you chin-chin. That judge you with their eyes. They don't give you chin-chin.
And that's why I have something I do now, church on the street. I've been doing it. Actually, a friend of mine introduced this to me years back, Tony Subai. He will always organize.
Yeah, where is he?
ITV, right?
Yes. He will always organize
ITV.
Meetings at the different lounges and clubs and all that. And strictly gospel vibes.
There are Christian clubs, though. Christian night clubs.
Yes.
There's actually one in Lagos. I think there's 1 or 2 in Lagos.
I like to attend. Can we cruise this way? Can we wine there?
You've been under a rock. But we have to
honestly, for me, I'm not sure if I want to. I would do.
I don't want
what I do in America is just like 2 hours. Just 15 minutes of
a set
of a message, just to encourage people. Drinks.
And
If you want to, if you feel like taking 1 or 2 shots, go ahead. if you feel like, because it's not what you put inside of you that makes you a sinner. It's actually what comes inside of you, comes out of you that makes you, So I tell people, don't be, God, when God is even decide to judge people.
America, now you go start from.
Let's go.
We got
Thank you so much, Dekunle Fuji, for helping us wrap up this week. This went a different direction than we expected.
Yeah, exactly. It was a
Direction. It was an absolutely good direction. Thank you so much to all of our listeners, our viewers, our callers, our social media engagers. We love you all sometimes because some of you don't want to be nice, but it's fine. It's all fair in love and war. We'll see you 10 a.m. West African time on Monday. Have a pleasant weekend, and we'll see you then.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.